And we are live. Welcome, everybody. This is Connections Unplugged from LinkedIn to Life. I'm your girl, Krista Skodra, hosting this personal podcast series of mine. The idea is very simple. It came to me long ago, but finally this year I got a chance to implement it. Basically, I was thinking that I'm so well connected to so many inspirational people around the world on my LinkedIn profile, which is my favorite social media platform, to be honest with you. I was thinking that I want to get to know these people on a deeper level, both as professionals as well as people. So in Connections Unplugged, every week, every Wednesday at 11 o'clock Finnish time, I bring to you one person, one story at a time in a 30-minute unplugged, unscripted discussion with one of my LinkedIn connections. Then you get a chance to eavesdrop into our conversation and get to know my guests. And of course, if they allow it, reach out to them and build your own network, or maybe you have some nice synergy, a great project together. Who knows? So in today's episode, I have the great pleasure to welcome Katri-Liis Tilk-Tichisan. How do I pronounce it?
I pronounce it Tichisan.
Tichisan. Katri-Liis
Tilk-Tichisan.
Tilk-Tichisan. Thank you, Katri-Liis, for coming into the studio with me. This show is powered by OneStream Live, Finnish company that enables me to multi-stream my content to LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in and watching us at the moment, for wherever you're tuning in and watching. We'd love to have your comments as well in all the native platforms that this episode is streaming, and we'll react to them as they come in. So Katri-Liis is a very inspirational person, and stay tuned because you will learn a lot about your voice, your body language, finding your influential voice. Maybe one day, once you manage to find your influential voice, maybe you have your own podcast and you use OneStream Live to really bring your voice out to the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Katri-Liis, you have been a voice coach at the European Parliament. You have helped 4,000 more clients around the world in many countries and organizations as well to speak with more power and comfort and ease and succeed in their sales roles or in their leadership roles or in their public speaking roles. You have helped people, politicians in the European Parliament and other EU institutions. I met you also personally. You had a chance to coach me as well. So I have a personal experience with your methods, your way of teaching, how personable you are, how adorable, how professional, how soft-spoken, but yet to the point. You're just a pleasure. And we can see already from your face, you're just a ray of sunshine, but you also know what you're talking about. So when you speak, people listen. So if they listen to your advice, people will be better speakers. As my former teacher, how do you think I'm doing with my use of voice?
So, well, Krista, I saw you, I think it's more than 7-8 years ago. And we have to remember that this was a Finnish setup. We were in Finland with you, and you were the only one non-Finn in this.
Was I? I'm always the odd one out.
Exactly. So we always need to understand what's the setup. So your setup was that you are in a foreign country, you are in a Nordic country, and you represent the southern country there. So I can now answer, you are now finding your true role, let's say. I see behind you now the map of the world, or at least the map of the Europe, seeing a little bit America there. Yes, so you are now finding your role. You don't confine yourself anymore. I am the Greek here in Finland. No, I am doing my thing. And that also, that comes from inside you. And therefore, it represents also your voice. So your question was about voice. How am I doing? Because we met with you in a voice coaching or presentation skills coaching. And actually, it all comes from inside you. So I see the confidence in you. I see, you know, what you want in your life. You know, in which direction you're headed. And guess what? We can hear all this from your voice. And also what I like is also that all of us, we do have some type of accents or dialects or the way we are speaking English, for example. But if we let our personality shine through that, like you really like to do the podcast, like you mentioned, you introduce your LinkedIn contacts and let's get to know each other more deeply. That's the point. And the voice is kind of the tool to best way to just influence with that to do this job.
Katri-Liis, let's now focus on you. You are the focal point of this episode. You are featured here. So tell us a little bit about who you are. I would go back to the childhood. This is my go-to question. I always like to go a bit back in time with everybody I want to know, because I believe that we are products of our childhood. The childhood shapes us, both in a good and a bad way. Of course, we can always develop ourselves and go away of our surroundings and away of our given situations and make ourselves reach our potential, right? But there is something I believe about the childhood. So I want you to tell us, everybody listening and watching, about small Katri-Liis. Where were you growing up? What kind of child you were? And did you always you wanted to help people? You were interested about people or voice? So how this come? Like, we will see the progression, but tell us a little bit about what kind of girl, if I would ask your parents and your family, did you have an influential voice from a small girl already from your small years? So tell us a little bit about your background.
So voice has been a main keyword from the childhood, but let's say that as a child, I was loving to sing. And the situation was typically, we were using the car for about 2 hours to go to our grandparents' place. So I singed in the car with my sister and with my mother, and I was the one who pressed the others to sing. Like, I didn't want it to end. We sang like canons, like one person starts, the other continues, and so forth. So I loved it. I adored it. And I thought, like, could it be in someday I could do it for a living, or I enjoyed it so much. But it was a Soviet time back then. And let's say our family was a little bit under surveillance, under pressure. Not to kind of names drop here, but our family had a background from coming back from Siberia deportation. So I met with KGB in my childhood. So they asked, let's say, about like what your mama does, what your papa does, which people come to your life, and they give me candies and so on. So I quite youngly, I started to feel like I can't be openly like talking about, because child understands that this is dangerous situation. But we got independence, and during all this time I was singing in choirs, and actually I traveled more than my parents because they were not allowed, but us young singers, we were allowed to travel, and typically we traveled by bus from Estonia, and it took like 3 days to go to Italy. It took 4 days to go to Ireland. So we lived in a bus, and so it was my life singing back then. And in Finland, when I was already graduated from Estonian Music Academy as a music teacher and singer, but I wanted to continue my life like just a little bit, let's say, for a half a year. But I stayed in Finland 27 years altogether and started to work firstly professionally with singing voice as a singer and singing teacher, but then got my calling to the speaking voice, because seeing that there are not so many, at least back then, it wasn't so many trainers available, and people were having a lot of voice problems. But mainly I saw my mother's problem, because she was a teacher back then, already a university teacher, and there wasn't much training available. And that was also the training I met you, for example. It was in a university based on for teachers and university teachers how to use your voice better. And that was kind of my, let's say, three main focus areas of my life with whom I train. Like, I saw that if I help these three areas, teachers, leaders, and politicians. Like leaders, meaning like, let's say, corporate leaders or business owners and so on. Because if a leader changes the atmosphere in the company or corporation, this then surrounds also to the other employees. At the same thing, politicians, they understand the importance of it, but especially teachers, because that was the thing that I saw from my own children, but also from the other children, that children's voices were not back then and are not now in a good condition. So all the education is very important, and teacher is the person that child believes. So if teacher's voice will be better, and at least she or he starts to pay some attention, and especially tells a child that don't do that, at least take care a little bit of that, we can change the generation of our kids in the future.
So you said that you grew up in Soviet times, very interesting stories you shared. You have now seen the world already from your childhood. You've been to, you lived in Finland. Of course, the nations of Estonia and Finland have a lot of cultural and linguistic similarities, and your cousins or brothers, if you like. When you are looking at the whole world, do you see that there are cultural differences in how the language or the cultural input or the mental software of the mind affects the language? So some cultures are more soft-spoken, or, I mean, what is valued in, let's say, in the US, how talkative, how loud, maybe it's not valued in an Asian culture, or the same differences amongst even European countries. We're proud to be all Europeans and we have common grounds. And you know, our fairy tales are similar, and so on. But what are the cultural differences you see? And then let's find also the similarities, and what is some red thread that unites when we talk about the power of voice. So let's first think globally. Are there differences, or if you want to take from the European level, are there differences, as you said in the beginning, when a Greek living in Finland, and then going above and beyond that and finding my own voice and who I am as a person, despite the context? Is it something that people should pay attention where I am, which is my host culture, where I'm now based at? Or how do you keep that balance, not losing your own authentic self and voice, but also adapting to the local culture you might find yourself? Quite a lot to unpack, I think, and it's a questions that a lot of us might be having, especially foreigners living abroad.
To begin with, it's good to understand that all of us, we are taking our speaking voice model unconsciously, typically from our parents or careholders. For example, if you have been already in the kindergarten or with a nanny and so on. So you, as a Greek, you took a speaking model from your culture, but also from your family, because there could be totally two different Greek families, isn't it? I took on the other hand, from mine. And that brings us to the authenticity. So if you are like continuing who you are, then actually you are more authentic to yourself who you are. But then starts life, like especially when we are going to school. So the peer pressure is very important. So actually then you want to fit in. That's more important. You don't think so much about your authenticity. Actually, you want to fade it away. You want to hide it. And then from this adolescence, when you are going to your work life career, and especially nowadays when young people are so much showing themselves in social media, here is an interesting breaking point, like what they are showing. They are having the peer pressure, they're showing the voice and the status that they think the others would like to be, but who are they as authentic selves? But bringing us back to the European voices, so yes, we have this similarity together, and actually I saw it only when being myself outside of Europe on other continents, either in Asia or in America. They saw it like, you go to Europe, there in Paris. Like they think us Europeans, like 24 EU languages, 28 nationalities, so like we are all the one and the same. But actually it is a difference when I work with all these 24 languages in Parliament. So there is a mental background that, first of all, we think the others are like us. And this really needs a training from us, especially if you are willing to adapt in your work, or you need to adapt. Like you said, you are a Greek in Finland, you need to adapt to Finnish culture. However, it's a fine line here to stay authentic to yourself, just adapting as much as you need based on your profession or what you need to do, being an influencer or a teacher or working with the young ones or elderly. So all this needs adapting from your voice. But basics are the same. Like all over the world, globally, we are taking the speaking model from our parents. But for example, when I started working in US, I had really preconceived thoughts that what's going to be there. And yes, because they are starting elocution already, like public speaking at the kindergarten, and their energy and that drive to speak is so much different. So that is actually also what I found. But it's also like what you think you're going to find, you're going to find, you know, it's also from that point. And mainly my results from America was because I did a training and I did a deep study there. Is a change possible? That let's take a training or long-term training and let's change your voices if you want to. And that happened that mainly the participants, they were able to change their voice if they wanted. However, I had, let's say, one example of a young female. She was married. Mm-hmm. And she wanted to get more deeper, more convincing, let's say influential voice. And we trained the voice and she felt it. She saw the difference from the video, from the audio. And guess what? She didn't like it. Mm-hmm. And why she said this? She said, like, my husband wouldn't accept me like that.
No.
And she went back. It was her decision, but there are incidents like this that people are not ready. I mean, in a mental level or theoretical level, they are ready. Like, yes, I want to be more convincing. I want to be more strong. But guess what? They are pronouncing, they're doing this voice. And typically what especially female people are telling me, I'm too aggressive. And I'm saying, and therefore it's good to do always a group session, because other people, peers, are telling you are not, you are convincing, you are influential, but because you are never a blanco, empty leaf. You're always comparing this new you to your previous you. And earlier, when you had a more shyer or smaller voice, and now you make it bigger, you are not used to it. So it's normal that you feel like I'm acting, this is not authentic me. So it's a thin line again there. Do I want to still gain this authority and confidence, although it's not like real me? Do I want to train? Some people say, no, I'm not ready. I don't want it. But more and more people understand that it's possible. Mm-hmm. So therefore, it's important that you don't listen only your voice, but also have some type of peer people that are around. Therefore, as I said, the group setting is quite good. Mm-hmm. But also with me, like one-on-one, when we are working, people are believing me. I'm trying to tell you, like, listen, here, step by step, this is what I hear from your voice. This is what I see from your body. And because like 100%, if we are looking like you are looking at me, like in the screen, you see my torso, my upper part of my body. This is the area we are typically looking and at the other person. If we can see, like telephone or something, we cannot see. And this is more than half. It's 55%. And considerable amount is the voice, 37. So, and that leaves only 7 to 9%. There are differences about these numbers to the content. So it's important how I'm moving my hands or not moving my hands.
This is a perfect now time, Katri-Liis, since you're just raising this exactly in this part of the show. Let's give a little taste to the viewers and listeners, because you are hosting and organizing hundreds of those workshops. Find your influential voice. Check out voicepilates.ee to find out more about Katri-Liis and her work. If you're inspired, if you're looking to find your more confident, influential voice, and give a little bit. You can use me as an example. You can show with your body there in your space. shall we start perhaps from the body language, or should we start from the breath, or how do you normally do it in the workshop? What is sort of the right order of things if we could have like a sped up version of what takes place in the workshop?
Exactly. We would start with the body because body makes the voice. And roughly speaking, I would say that your body for the voices and confidential or influential part of you is divided into 3 areas, 3 parts. Your lower part of the body, your hips and legs, so underneath your hips and legs, and then the middle part of the body, hips upwards until here, let's say collarbones level, and then your head. And what is important that in between your head and here collarbones stays what is called the forbidden area, because here is vocal cords, and therefore we don't want to stress them too much. Unfortunately, this is the thing we typically do when we stress or want to emphasize with our voice. We start to strain and we start to put pressure here. This is not good. So therefore I start with the body, and if we think of energy-wise our body like a triangle or iceberg under the water, so only the tip of the iceberg is on top of the water, all the other part of the iceberg under the water. So the middle part and the lower part body is the underwater iceberg. So main part of the energy when you're speaking, influencing other people, should be in the body, in the chest area, in the legs, hips. Typically, this is not what we're doing, especially when we're sitting or we are crunching or whatever, we are doing something. The body is not helping. Body wants to help, but it's not. So first of all, you plant your legs firmly there in the ground. Then you take charge, also like feeling, it's a humorous exercise. You can do it with me there. You feel like you are sitting in the invisible, imaginable crocodile tail, a wide crocodile tail, and you're sitting in it, and it helps you with your lower back arching there, and it helps to your breathing and your diaphragm. So it opens your breathing a bit better. So sitting on your crocodile tail and planting firmly your legs, that already gives your body language grounding and strength. Next, the middle part of the area, you stretch up your hands, you feel the spaciness of yourself. So it's a physical space here you feel in the rib cage for the voice, for the breathing, but it's also a mental space. Do you dare to take up a space, or you are more like, no, no, no? So it's actually for both. If you only know, it's not an easy exercise. I mean, the mentally, that I am taking up the space. Here comes already, I'm arrogant, I'm aggressive. Can you understand? Like some people, if I'm doing this, they feel already aggressive. Anyway, so you have to take care of it. So the key word is openness, but also flexibility. You need to be flexibility. But the flexibility, you can do a physical moving to open up your body. Like now I'm doing sideways movement, but basically it's not so important in the end that moving towards the audience. Your audience can be microphone, can be one person, bigger audience. So you need to have a connection, energy going towards audience. However, you need to also go back home after that and rest. I see Southern cultures like yourself, Italians, they are always going, but not so much going back and like taking time from themselves also sometimes to calm down.
I personally do it. I think it's a great thing that, you know, when you approach people, especially when you give a talk in a room of people, it creates a different connection to go close. Even now with the camera, I go here sometimes closer.
Exactly.
Then it's very important to go back also and take my position and say, hey, here I am, but also I can come closer to you. And this different, and especially as you know, on a physical setup, it's one thing, and then TV live stream puts a different dimension on this, because here we have, as you said, certain restrictions. You're in a studio, in a chair, you have microphone, you have wires, you have this and that. Maybe you have a pillow under your butt because you need to lift yourself. So you have some sort of restrictions. Therefore, you need to make things work, perhaps with your hands. So sometimes then I think people from cultures like, I don't know, northern cultures who don't use so much the hand gesture, they have to, at least I advise them when they do a live stream, not to go crazy with their hands, but somehow show that you have a hand, that you, what watch are you wearing, just to be more approachable. How long are your nails? Like it creates something something personal with the viewer, that they see you or parts of your body, not just the talking head, because now we have AI and everybody can have a AI deepfake avatar. So what do you think about this, the body in a restricted space, in a live stream, and how much should you show? Do you agree with this, the hand gestures, a little bit of the facial, a little bit the proximity with the camera? How do you advise people to go on this, to create more of this personal connection? Of course, depends perhaps the business or are you a content creator or are you a leader, or how do you differentiate? What advice would you give perhaps to different target groups?
I would divide it into two parts. I would first train it before the session starts, this live event or whatever, because when you are already inside these restrictions, it's quite difficult to use your body like wholly, because you have to have a physical experience, how to feel active, how to physically move, how to take this space, how to feel your crocodile tail and strong legs. Because if you're sitting there and confined into this pillow or whatever situation, and you are restricted even to move because of this microphone situation here, that you cannot move too much, therefore you are restricting also yourself with the body. However, if the body already has a muscle memory, how to do all this, then it's easier. Therefore, I'm dividing it into two. So do first in standing position. Don't think yet of your restrictions. You stand, you use your legs, you use your crocodile tail, you use your openness, flexibility. And because of that, the voice comes as itself. It has authority, it has deepness, it has colors, it has everything. You don't have to. It's not a problem later on that you have to, what's my voice or what should I do or not. It comes naturally and authentically. So first you have this experience while doing it physically standing without any confines. Then after that, when you have enough repetitions from that, you go to your simulated situation. You simulate yourself, the future situation, because it's good to train and exercise. So you say your speech or elevator speech or your introduction of yourself, and you say it again like 3 times or something. Try to imagine the feelings, the physical feelings that you had in your body, in your legs, in your sitting position. So typically it's good to take the activity of the standing position to sitting, because the main problem starts when you sit. Or if you are restricted to move because of the microphone or something else. So try to be as active with your body, because again, then your voice will work. All these interesting nuances will come out, and it's easy to be who you are. More closed, more stiff you are, the smaller voice you have, and you have again this restraint here, and the end result is not so good.
Katri-Liis, you come from singing and performance, so it comes natural to you. You've done it from a very young age. People who didn't have those charismas or opportunities, or they're not talented singers, or they didn't have choir singing as a hobby growing up and so on, do you feel that by having some kind of cultural, artistic hobbies, or even sports, for example, I practice myself Taekwondo, which is a martial art, but it helps a lot with breathing, with posture, with flexibility, with not really being this kind of fearless person and doing things with your body, with your breath and so on. Do you feel that having hobbies, other than having a workshop with you or an expert, but doing something else, taking up singing lessons or doing martial art or some other hobbies, something else that people can do to help themselves?
Absolutely, because it's the same body who does the speaking, it does your walking there outside with the dog, or if you are doing especially some sports hobby like Taekwondo, you mentioned. Why I like Pilates, for example, is that it targets especially these deep core muscles that can help also the voice and your posture, because you're going to look good, you're going to look confident. So it like targets exactly yoga as well. It adds also flexibility and so on. But all type of physical activity adds your breathing, like more flexibility and more openness, tonus of the muscles and so on and so forth. But also voice is meant to be used. So it could be a mental thing that you think like a restricted way that I don't like my voice. This is also a big thing. People don't like their voices, and it's mainly because of the feedback they got as a child or later on. So it's not necessarily true, but think of yourself. Have you had a feedback? Do you think badly about your voice, or you are not just used? Probably just start using. It needs to be oiled. It needs to be used. The same way like body needs to be used in physical activities. And both of them, you don't have to come to a lesson. Just use your voice. And typical good exercises for yourself could be humming, helps with the head voice, or deep chest voice like white vowels like ah and o, ah, o. And it's good to feel open, not a restricted ah or tense, but ah, oh, and then put them together and have fun with yourself. Typically, your kids or dogs will be like alerted there. What's going on?
But it's a good thing to do. I've been doing such exercises with my son from a very young age, because not only to what a mother could do when you're a baby, you teach them different things and you want to do something yourself. So then he learned very fast to pronounce ah and o and speaks many languages. And so play with your kids. I think engage with the kids, as Katri-Liis said, it's important from a young age to start also. And I guess hobbies and having this confident body, healthy body, voice, breathing, everything works. As you said, it's the same body that produces the voice. Katri-Liis, my previous guest asked you a question. And then I want you now, as we close this episode, we can go on forever, but we have to leave something for the viewers and find more information for you at voicepilates.ee if they're interested. But my previous guest asked you, what is one selfless act that you personally have done recently or in your life? Is there anything that you have done which you think it was quite selfish when I've done this? And you have felt proud?
So I think it's quite personal, meaning it's from my personal life and as a mother. And my work has taken me a lot abroad. And one of my positions needed me to move, like back then they said permanently. And I had an opportunity to take my children and plant them into French culture. And they were already doing like graduating their high schools, and they had a special schools and special interest already back in Finland. But I missed them really much, and I could force them, guys, you are coming with me and you are now living in Luxembourg, going to this French school. But I understood that it's easier for them to stay home, and I miss them every day. But
for how long?
Several years, 5 years.
Okay, that's
so yeah.
As a Greek mother, I could not imagine, because I understand every mother, as you said, you miss them, and it's a tough decision sometimes when you're a parent and a professional and a woman and a mother and have some career going on. So tough decisions. Katri-Liis, what question you would like to ask to my next guest? You don't know who they are, but think of a question that really illuminates your understanding of a person, or gets sort of to the bottom of their psyche and gives you some kind of insights. What kind of person are they? What would you like to ask my next guest?
I would like to ask if there would be no restrictions, like you would have a citizen salary or something. What work or what life you would live, what work you would do, or what life you would live, what you would choose for yourself. No restrictions at all.
So no income problems.
No income problems. What would you like to do? What's most closest to your heart?
Excellent. Noted. Thank you so much. Katri-Liis was with me, voice coach, exceptional woman. Find her out. Now you're based back in Estonia, right?
Yes.
But you are also able to travel to different places and...
I do constantly. Both, mainly the places are Finland, Brussels and Luxembourg, but also other places.
Great. So reach out to Katri-Liis. She has a new website upcoming, voicepilates.ee. Reach out to her. Would you like people to connect with you on LinkedIn?
Yes, absolutely. And I would love to continue discussing and from my side to help you to be more influential leaders.
Great. She has done already a great job in doing that. So maybe she can help you become an influential leader and find your own unique influential voice. Thank you so much, Katri-Liis.
Thank you, Krista.
Fly
Bye.
to dear Estonia there. So thank you for being in today's episode. And if you want to be featured on the show, please write to me. Find me at Krista Skodra. Send me a private message. And I'd love to feature you and get to know you. So connect with me, send me a message, come to the show, be my guest. I'm at your service. So this was Connections Unplugged, powered by the one and only OneStream Live company from Finland, from Espoo, where I'm based at. It enables me to do many things, either go completely live and multi-stream my live broadcast to more than 45 social media platforms and the web. So I can stream to my website, I can stream to a hosted page, I can stream to social media, and it helps me also to create this kind of branded content. As you see, the colors, all the stickers that come underneath, these are I'm putting here, changing them with my mouse. Here it is. I'm a one-woman show, thanks to the help and ease of OneStream Live. Thank you so much, OneStream Live. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening. Kisses from me. I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.